All right, welcome to a special edition of Spoiled Sports Podcast. We're going to call this a last-minute Spoiled Sports Podcast because we just decided to do it last night because we've had a busy week because I'm back on the sauce.
I didn't think you ever went off it.
I've been on that diet, but I had... St. Patty's Day starts you down a slippery road when you stop drinking. And then you start for St. Patty's Day, and then your birthday comes up.
Well,
a little bit later.
Yeah, there's no such thing as discipline when the holidays start up.
Plus, how am I not supposed to celebrate my fantasy hockey victory?
Well, I do have to offer you congratulations for that. I don't know how to react to that really because
your team played amazing all year. You killed everyone all year. You had 20 more points than the second place team, which I believe ended up being me after the final standings. And then I lose my best player for the playoffs in Tyler Seguin, go to a triple tiebreaker in my semi-game, and then kick your behind in the final.
Well, as good as I was all year, the last 4 games I was 2-2. I lost my only regular season game, and I lost one of the 2 playoff matchups. So, just the way it was. I think the main thing that happened was the goaltenders I had turned into Swiss cheese between Bishop and Anderson, and I don't even know who my other guy was at the end.
Good thing I know the Heimlich, because Pee-wee chokes a lot.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. No goaltending. I should have played with the man advantage the whole time.
We'll do a real quick update of the NHL standings since we're talking hockey. Boston's still in it with 90 points, holding on to third place in the Eastern Conference, with Detroit nipping at their heels with 89 points. The Islanders are in the wild card spot with 93 points, so if Boston drops out, the Islanders are going to take a spot and jump over Boston. We'll have the last spot in the wild card. And we'll have Philly and Detroit behind us with 89, and Carolina can still catch us with 84. And I know the Bruins play Chicago tomorrow on Sunday. And the West isn't as interesting. Basically, that looks all set.
Okay, so who's the top seed in the West? Dallas or Chicago?
Dallas. Dallas, St. Louis, and Chicago have the West. Actually, it's not all set. The last spot's still up for grabs between Minnesota and Colorado. But Minnesota is 87 and Colorado is 82.
Yeah. Did you look at the Atlantic side of the NHL and the standings? And look at the teams with the E next to them. What's that mean? Eliminated?
Yeah.
I see Ottawa, Montreal, eliminated. Montreal, eliminated. I can't say that enough, can I?
All right, now we're going to go with the hot topic for today, which is Saturday while we're recording this. March Madness, Final Four. You have Villanova in Oklahoma and Syracuse and UNC, which I didn't have any of them. You had UNC.
I had UNC, and I think I had Villanova up to the Elite Eight. So I think that's going to be it for the Final Four as far as whether we picked any or not. Just UNC, and that was totally just a guess on my part.
So are you still sticking with UNC?
I have to. Yes, I am.
Who do you think's going to win Villanova, Oklahoma?
Villanova, Oklahoma. I think Villanova will win, but it all hinges on whether or not they can slow down Oklahoma's fast break. I think both of the games are kind of a half-court team against a fast break team. Last time they said that Villanova, their undoing came from the game that they played Oklahoma early in the year in Hawaii. They shot 4 for 32 or something like that from three-point range. Oklahoma just took off and ran off of that. So it's like they said the missed three-pointers almost looked like the first pass on Oklahoma's fast break. They were off and running. So if Villanova can play an inside-out game, they should do better this time. And there's also that guy, the the leading scorer for Oklahoma. They're going to have to figure out a way to shut him down.
Sounds good to me. I think Villanova will take the game too, but I mean, I haven't made a lot of correct picks this year anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, already you're making me feel bad about picking them.
And Syracuse and North Carolina, I'll go with North Carolina because I think Syracuse is overrated as usual.
Yeah, same type of situation over there. Half-court game of Syracuse against the fast break of UNC. North Carolina has pretty much cruised through the first part of the March Madness. I don't know if anyone's offered them a challenge yet, so I guess that's the only thing. If they get into a close game, how will they react?
Well, I mean, yeah, the closest games looks like it was Indiana and Notre Dame. They beat Indiana 101-86. I don't know how close that game actually was, but score-wise, and then Notre Dame 88-74.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's just no way of knowing how they'll react to a tight game, to a tie game or a 1-point game coming down the stretch, the end. We'll see. Well, maybe we won't see, but if it's close, we'll see.
I did have Indiana over Kentucky in my bracket. That's the best pick I made.
Well, that's good. Well,
that's my proud pick.
Kentucky was a weird team this year anyways. They weren't anywhere near as good as last year, obviously. And they played good for a while, but they had long stretches where they just didn't look that good at all. So, but the fact that Indiana came along, Indiana looked like almost Indiana of old.
And you're still in it in our tournament challenge, right?
I believe so. I think if UNC goes all the way, I believe I will finish first. I don't know how many people were in that, a dozen?
Yeah, about. 11 technically, because 3 people didn't fill out their brackets somehow. There are 3 zeros.
They managed to sign up?
They sign up and then they didn't put their bracket in, which they're in other leagues, so I don't know. Just all they have to do is submit it.
Well, I think that at least they signed in and got their name in there. I think they might have been in so many brackets they forgot one or something. But in any event, as long as I finish ahead of you, I keep my streak going.
Yeah, you already did. Alright, we're going to talk about basketball for a little bit now. Last night there were 2 huge games, which was Friday, April 1st. The Cavs took down Atlanta in the first game, and then the Celtics took down the Warriors in Golden State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great games. I watched a good part of the Cavs game, and I watched most of the Celtics game once it did come on, when the Cavs finished off after the overtime win over Atlanta, in Atlanta.
Yeah, the Cavs needed overtime to beat Atlanta.
They had a 14-point lead, and they ended up having to go to overtime. Atlanta outscored them something like 55-41 in the second half. And you just can't do that. You can't let that happen. When you've got a lead, you gotta make it stick. The playoffs are coming. You can't fool around with teams, letting them get back into the ball game.
But to the Cavs' defense, Atlanta was the 1 seed last year. They're a good team. Yeah. And when you have a 3-point shooter like Kyle Korver, you can make a comeback.
Yeah,
that's why it's so hard to keep Golden State down too.
Yeah, they are a good team. There's no denying their record. 45 wins at this point to the Cavs 54. But again, you got to be able to put a team away. And one of the things that troubles me with the Cavs is the foul shooting. They don't always knock down the foul shots at the end of the game, which is the one way you keep teams from coming back. If they foul you to get the ball back and you don't make the foul shots, then you're playing right into their hands. So it's almost like a turnover.
Why can't LeBron hit his free throws consistently? Do we have an answer for that? He's the best player in the league, but granted, he's not the best shooter anyways. Like, of the Curry, Kobe, Durant, and LeBron, he's probably the worst shooter of all 3 of those top tier faces of the NBA. Sure. And he's probably one of the best ones at driving to the hole. He is the best. But he's terrible from the line.
I don't know what his actual shooting average is. It's probably somewhere in the high 60s or something from the foul line. But it seems to me like, especially late in the game, he can be counted on to make one of two. And he's like a 50% shooter. And it always seems to me like the first one is the one he misses. Like it's almost like his practice shot or to get the range, and then he'll knock down the second one. But 50% doesn't get it when you're trying to close out a team at the end. Last night, he had 2 foul shots near the end, made the second one, missed the first. But then they started making sure that Kyrie had the ball at the end. And I think Kyrie made like 5 out of 6. So he was knocking down his foul. That's what you got to do. That's the only way to close down a team at the end. If you have a lead.
He's a career 74% shooter from the line.
Who's this?
LeBron? Who are we talking about?
I just mentioned Kyrie. I just mentioned Kyrie earlier.
Why are we talking about this? It's all about LeBron right now.
It's not all about LeBron.
That's why we're talking about it.
It's about foul shooting.
I brought up LeBron's free throw percentage, and you took it into Kyrie.
Do you know that LeBron shoots 74% last year?
Yeah. That's what I've heard.
I heard that somewhere.
Not last year, his career.
Oh, his career.
His career percentage from the line is 74%. He's never been in the 80%. The highest percentage he's ever hit in a season was with the Miami Heat in the 2011-2012 season, where he hit 77%. And in 06-07 with the Cavs, he only hit 69%.
That's where I pretty much figured he was. If his career is 74%, I think he's got worse at the line.
He's usually 75. He has. His stints with Cleveland, he's hit 71, and this season he's hitting 72. With Miami, he's in a 75, 77, mostly 75. He had that one year where it was 77. He was at his best. And then his first stint with the Cavs, he's hitting... Oh, I guess he hit his highest with the Cavs, 78. Overlooked that 78. But he's usually... Yeah, he does not shoot well from the line.
Well, I would have thought that it wasn't even that good. Just anecdotal feeling is that, he was shooting almost a little over 50%, but he's at 3/4.
If you want to be that elite player in the NBA, you have to ice games. The easiest way to put a game away is to hit your free throws, especially when they're intentionally fouling you.
Right.
LeBron will never be the best closer in basketball until he starts hitting those free throws.
Yeah,
it's the easiest shot in the game.
He's got to be in the 80s. High 70s is not quite doing it.
No. If you want to be elite, 80s it is. All right, and the Celtics beat Golden State last night in Oakland in a good game.
It was a very good game. It was solid all the way. The Celts were indeed solid all the way. They played great defense from beginning to end. They took no quarters off. They took no time off at all. They just played from the entire 48 minutes. Solid effort. The thing about the Celtics last night on their defense, they seemed to play what I was talking about in a previous podcast, some sort of outside in. They pressured the 3-ball. They doubled people who were trying to shoot the 3. Instead of doubling down inside, they would double people trying to shoot the 3 and make them pass the ball. A lot of times Golden State did, and a lot of times they had some open shots. I don't think they shot quite as well from the 3s, and they had a lot of turnovers too. But I think that's just with them the Celtics making them handle the ball a little bit more, you're pressuring the first guy who has the 3-point opportunity, making him throw the ball. And then if the Celtics defense is in the passing lane, they got, I think, 22 turnovers. So that was the way that game went. That was the turning point.
Yeah, the Celtics out-hustled Golden State last night, too. They outplayed them. They out-hustled them. And Golden State's good enough to still make a game of it. And any lead you get, they're always going to come back because they shoot the 3-ball so well. You had Curry, who nailed one from the logo last night.
He's unbelievable.
And what did you hear from Stevens that you liked?
I really like Stevens as a coach. And one of the things that demonstrated that was during a timeout. They took a timeout when Curry did get hot. I think it was either the end of the third quarter or beginning of the fourth. and he just was going into that unconscious act, and it was around the time he hit the shot from the logo, and then he hit a shot off of someone's behind the back pass, and knocked them both down. It looked like he was off and running, and Stevens calls a timeout, and he told the team, he says, don't overreact emotionally to Curry. Curry is on a roll. He gets on these rolls, and it's to be expected. Don't overreact. Keep playing the way we've been playing.
I think we might have that audio.
That was beautiful. Now, when Curry gets going like that, we can't overreact emotionally to that. You did a great job. Just bet back, and play. Excellent.
One thing that I found amazing about last night's win is we won last night without Jay Crowder. We beat Golden State without our main hustle.
That's right. We were shorthanded, and I didn't hear that much about that from the play-by-play or the broadcasters. They seem to dwell mostly on the fact that Golden State was without Iguodala. No mention of Crowder at all.
Yeah, because Iguodala makes that much of a difference. He was hardly the Finals MVP last year. And that's only because Golden State won, because LeBron would have almost took it, and he's on the losing team.
That's right. I think LeBron was the
Probably
MVP
should have taken it
last season, but I think the only way he could have taken it would be if he could have taken him to a 7th game. It's hard to give it to a team that loses in 6.
You know who was really the MVP last year? Kelly Olynyk. He was the MVP for Golden State because if the Cavs had Kevin Love for that game, for that final series, if the Cavs had Kevin Love, I think they would have been able to take down Golden State.
Yeah, I think that certainly their chances would be a hell of a lot better. I think they'll be a hell of a lot better this year. So the thing about the Cavs, though, it's their team play. Their team play. It's almost like they got 5 guys out there, like a pickup game. Sometimes it's just the 5 best players over at the Y. You're trying to keep playing.
Yeah, but another thing I really liked yesterday, Isaiah Thomas after the game gave a lot of credit to other players on the team like Marcus Smart and Avery Bradley, and said that the reason they won was that defense. Right. Gave credit to the defense. Didn't talk about himself. Talked about other teammates, and I really like that in Thomas.
He was pretty impressive in the game itself, in the second half for sure, and in the interview afterwards, like you said, giving credit and also having the ability to analyze what took place. And he was also cognizant of the fact that they had had a tough game the night before, and he was happy and proud that the team had not gotten down after losing a tough game to Portland, and then come in and played against the world champions and didn't shrink back from that either. So the Celts are in a good frame of mind coming down to the end, playing the last 5 or 6 games. They have a chance to go somewhere in the playoffs, I think.
Thomas reminds me of Allen Iverson a bit.
That's right.
With the shot. He doesn't have quite the penetration or shot that AI did, but I don't think anyone will ever actually be able to be the next AI. Mm-hmm. Which everyone's like, oh, who's going to be the next Jordan? But I want to see the next AI if someone could do that. Because you think Jordan would have been that dominant if he was as small as Allen Iverson was?
I don't know. I don't think so. Jordan was a strong ball player, solid. The guy that Isaiah Robinson reminds me of is a guy that you said you never...
Who? Isaiah who? You and your basketball players' last names.
Isaiah Thomas. I was thinking of Oscar Robertson, but he doesn't remind me of Oscar Robertson, so forget that. He reminds me of Tiny Archibald. Mainly because they're both lefties.
What were you going to say before you screwed up yet another last name?
I was going to say that the guy that Isaiah Thomas reminds me of is Tiny Archibald. Because he ran the point, he was small, he's kind of a skinny guy, and he shot left-handed, so he just even looks like him.
Yeah, he reminds me of AI. That's my opinion. He doesn't drive to the hoop as well, But size-wise, he's like him, and nobody will ever match AI's ball handling skills. Mm-hmm. And I think that made a huge difference for him being able to drive to the hoop, was he could cross someone over to create a path to the hoop, and then somehow lay it in without it getting blocked. We'll see if Thomas can improve in that. And his shooting's great, but we'll see. It's definitely excited to see how he progresses with the Celtics and in the NBA in general.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll have the longevity and the staying power. He's not a guy. He's not a big guy, so see if he can take the day in, day out pounding or beating that comes with that.
All right, and with opening day right around the corner, we're going to switch here to baseball. Some news coming in today, which is Saturday, that I keep forgetting to mention because it's a podcast, not a live show. A.J. Pollock from Arizona fractured his elbow sliding and is going to need surgery to fix that. So that is not very good news for fantasy baseball owners who took him in the first or second round, or even the third. He was projected in the top 15.
Really?
This season for fantasy, yeah. More news. The fifth spot on the Yankees starting pitching staff is going to Sir Captain Crunch.
Who?
Captain Crunch Sabathia. That's what CC stands for, right? Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch,
right?
Yeah.
The fifth spot is Sabathia's for now.
For now.
Is what they're saying. I don't know.
Is he just old? Or did he just get out of shape?
He's an alcoholic.
Oh.
He went to rehab this offseason.
I didn't know that.
He's getting the Miguel Cabrera treatment.
Oh, I thought he was drinking himself out of the league. I mean, eating himself out of the league.
He's doing both. He's filling up the Captain Crunch with beer.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, he's been coming downhill for the last 2 or 3 years, it seems.
And I just found a story now. Did you know that if an infielder, this is before this year, this new season, infielder has the ball in his glove. Mm-hmm. Say Jose Altuve, because this is who it happened to.
Okay.
He's fielding, has the ball in his glove, a runner's running by him, and the laces from his glove, if the laces touch the runner, he's out.
Yeah, that
the
makes
laces,
sense,
the hanging laces.
Yep.
The hanging laces.
Yep.
That no longer applies.
Oh,
New rule in MLB, you actually have to hit him with the glove. Why were the laces an out?
Why were the laces an out?
Yeah,
because
why if the laces graze you?
Because it was part of the glove, and if you tagged someone with the ball in the glove, he's out.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you just have really long laces to the glove like a whip?
That's exactly.
And just start whipping people near you.
That's probably why they made it illegal or made it not count, because they could see what was coming down the pike with people with long laces. Because I would see some gloves where the laces were 5 or 6 inches long. What's to keep them from being 2 or 3 feet?
Yeah. Well, sports in general, but especially baseball, they keep pushing to try and get more of an advantage players. You had pine tar and sunscreen and stuff for pitchers on the ball. You had little sunscreen on their arm like Clay Buchholz did that one time.
Right,
And you had the pine tar on hats and in pockets and nail files from Necro. Not Phil Necro. Joe Necro had the nail file in his back pocket.
Yeah, they're always looking for an edge.
And of course the steroids and the cork bats.
Well, it's a funny thing that when you mentioned the laces. I think the only time I've ever seen anything come up out of that was when a pitcher had a glove with long laces, and they made him cut the ends off because it was a distraction during his windup. The laces flying around. Because sometimes they do that.
That's smart, though. I would have done that. Anything I could get to be deceptive.
The sleeves, I've seen them make guys cut their sleeve off if they had one sleeve longer than the other or something. So, but I do remember. I don't know if it was a professional game or just a game I was playing in secondary school or Babe Ruth league, that they made someone cut their laces as a distraction. Weird. And
then, of course, you had the incident with Omar and the pitcher with his earrings or necklace.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Omar got into that scuffle about the pitcher wearing his earrings. It was a distraction.
Yeah, I think there was a guy with I think Oil Can Boyd with the Red Sox had a big clunky chain that they used to keep on telling him to tuck inside his shirt, and he kept on coming out because he didn't want to button his shirt all the way up either. So it's just a pain. And wasn't there some kind of a thing where a lot of players had this different kind of necklace, like a rope kind of necklace?
Yeah, that like feng shui good luck necklace.
Yeah,
it's supposed to give you health and good energy.
Yeah, there are people. Yeah, I don't know if they ever made anyone take that off.
No, you could wear it because it's not shiny. It's not reflecting sunlight.
It's just goofy looking.
Yeah, it's just. All right, and some more news. We have the Indians demoted a very famous logo today.
Oh, okay.
The Chief Wahoo logo is being downgraded to their secondary logo, and they're going to go to that Block C is their main logo, which I like more. Mm-hmm. I like the Block C.
Well, there's a couple. Obviously, there's the obvious reason where people have been griping about it. The Chief Wahoo. I think it's also easier or cheaper if you have a recognizable logo that is easy to reproduce and cheaper to reproduce. Something like Chief Wahoo, very intricate and hard to just print. So, there's a financial reason and a political reason for them to do that.
And I never really cared for the Chief Wahoo logo that much. I remember when we were back in Massachusetts and we'd get those little ice cream sundaes at restaurants afterwards. It'd come in a little baseball helmet, and I have about 12 of those. For some reason, I would always get an Indians one. I didn't know who the Indians were. I didn't know Ohio. I didn't know anything. And I'd look at it and be like, what is that goofy person on the front doing there? Because it looks goofy.
Well, I always liked it, but some of the older representations are even weirder looking. If you've seen some of the,
I've seen some of the weird
ones from the past. So
they need something like the Blackhawks have. That's cool.
Yeah, they say that's the best uniform in not only hockey but in sports.
Well, the logo, not the uniform.
The logo, yeah.
They're not going to wear a hockey sweater playing baseball.
I know, but just saying that it does seem to lend dignity to the logo or to what it's trying to express. I don't know if that's true. I certainly can't speak for that community, not being from that. But
why don't they just do it like the Indians, but the I is a giant feather? Like how the Braves have a tomahawk under the word Braves.
That's interesting.
Something respectable but cool.
Yeah, that might be a way to go. Yeah,
that was a big part of Indian culture. It was different feathers for different things. That feather is a huge part of it.
Yeah, I guess the biggest problem is that it looks like a cartoon.
Yeah, and they accentuate features that are stereotypical.
Right.
You had the big giant goofy looking smile with the big nose, and he's beet red.
Right. I know.
It's so.
That's a little much. A little much.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get offended by it, but I have no Indian blood or anything, so I wouldn't get offended by it.
Well,
but I didn't think it was that great of a logo. I thought it was goofy.
Well, fans remember it as part of the tradition, growing up, and they don't want that to change. They want to be able to look back, look at the team today, and still remember that as the team of their childhood, and the logo helps them do that, I guess. I still like Pat Patriot, though.
Yeah, I do like the old school Pats logo, too. But that's not very offensive.
It is to Minutemen.
Yeah.
You ever take a good look at that guy's face? He looks like a goon.
Then make him the Bruins logo, too.
Yeah, goon, yeah.
All right, 2 more things to hit on for baseball. The Indians demoted Trevor Bauer, not to the minors, but to the bullpen. So we were wrong trying to predict the starters. Bauer did not make the 4th starting spot. Instead, Cody Anderson and Tomlin will be 4th and 5th starters. So you have Kluber at the top of that staff, sinker baller. Carrasco, hard thrower. Salazar, hard thrower. Anderson, sinker baller, and Tomlin, sinker baller.
Yeah.
Going to get a lot of ground ball outs.
Well, with their defense, maybe that's what they were thinking of. With Lindor being as short, and who's playing third for them now?
It's Gio.
Gio. Okay, so they don't have to worry about where to put Chisenhall because he's hurt, and he wasn't much with the glove anyway.
They put him in right field, and he was great.
Yeah.
He made some diving catch, some real nice catches out there in right field.
So I think, it makes sense. If they think they're going to have a good defense, they'll be going after the ground balls.
I don't know how that's going to affect Bauer, though. He was finally starting to come into his own as a starter, and then they put him in the pen.
I hope he can live with being put out there, because basically he's gonna pitch. He's the next starter up. If someone gets injured, next man up. Hell, if he was pitching for the Red Sox, that once Buchholz went down, he'd have a slot.
Yeah,
so
that's
I don't
true.
know.
Well, Tomlin's had his shoulder issues, and you will see if he can last a whole season.
I'm sure it could bug him a little bit that he's not going to be in the starting rotation. But like I said, he's going to get plenty of work, especially in the springtime and the early before the weather warms up. Because even your starters, you don't want them going 8 and 9 innings. Through April, they're going to be taking the Klubers and Carrasco and Salazar.
7, maybe 8.
Oh, at the most. Once they get past 5 innings and they have a decision, they're going to probably say keep a close eye at that point.
All right, and the last thing, it's been announced by the Red Sox that Pablo Sandoval is not going to be starting come opening day. And I believe that's for back reasons, not because he's just not talented enough. But his back's been bothering him all spring training. He's just not going to be ready. And they're going to put Shaw over there instead, which I like, because I like Shaw.
I like that too, but I like Shaw. That's the positive part, is he's going to get some playing time. He's going to get some swings. And I think he's definitely a guy who can make it. Sandoval, I feel bad that he's not playing because his back is acting up. And who knows why his back is acting up? Is it acting up because he's so overweight? If he doesn't shape up this year, if he has 2 bad years in a row.
All right, well, that does it for our quick last-minute podcast this week. We'll come back at you next week with a full one. But for now, that's it.
So long.